now we get to move over to what you've been paying attention to. That's the NBA playoffs. And we're going to go back once again to game sevens and Boston, Milwaukee. We'll start with that one because I want to give you ample time to talk about
the fun one
CP3.
second.
The fun one will be second.
Fun one second. Okay, yeah. So this game 7, Milwaukee without Middleton had no shot. I'll say it. They came out firing, and then Boston decided, well, Grant Williams is going to decide he's going to have 12 threes tonight, and that's how we're going to win. It's not going to be Tatum. Tatum had 4 or 5 fouls in the second half. He was a non-factor. It was Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and freaking Grant Williams that won the series. And if Boston is going to have a chance against Miami, which we'll talk about here in a minute, they're going to have that night in, night out. Because I think Milwaukee was a much better team. If they had Middleton, they win that series in 5 or 6. I'm serious, and that's no slight against Boston because I think Tatum is out of this world right now. He is a top 5 player in basketball by far and away, and what he's doing night in, night out is incredible. But Milwaukee right now just was shorthanded and not there. Mm-hmm. And Boston, look, they got exposed in game 1, in my opinion. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Like I said, I keep saying that, but they got exposed in game 1 for a reason because they're very, very raw. That's the best way to put it. They're not championship contenders because they're not in the mindset of a championship. They're a very, very solid team, but they don't have that edge yet. Like they know they're good, but they don't have the edge yet. They may find it. They very well may find it in the Eastern Conference Finals, but they don't have that edge yet like Milwaukee did last year. So that's where they're going to have to go soul searching a little bit there. But yeah, hats off to Boston winning on your home court. That's always so much easy. They ended up at the end of the season winning the last 2 games. Milwaukee quote unquote tanked so that they wouldn't have to or have the guys healthy for the playoffs, which ended up biting themselves in the ass. So good for Boston. I said it, Boston. I would not. I said it before the series. I would not be surprised if Boston won the series, and they ended up doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the tightest series that we've seen all throughout the playoffs. And there were times where Milwaukee looked like they could take over, but they were just missing that one presence. And then on the other side of things, we finally got our revenge on the Suns and 4 guy. You texted me right after you tweeted that, and you were like, that was like a cathartic experience, and it had to be. The Suns not only lose in Game 7, but you get 40-pieced.
Luka, you're a fucking god. That's all I'll say. Luka, you're a god. Look, there were 2 hockey Game 7s. Instead of watching New York versus Pittsburgh until overtime, because I turned on when it went to overtime, I was watching the 40-piece. I kid you not. I was like, yeah, I'm watching this shit. This shit feels good. It feels so good. And look, we have friends that are either Phoenix Suns fans or from Phoenix. This is nothing against you. Let's put that out there. This is what I'm about to say. We love you guys. This is nothing against you. But fuck Chris Paul, fuck the Suns and 4 guy, and fuck all those fuckers that just got so damn cocky for winning nothing. Mm-hmm. Winning nothing. Chris Paul saying, I'm addicted to getting to the finals last year. I'm so glad you beat your addiction. Let's give it up for Chris Paul, everybody, for beating your addiction and never getting back to the finals. I'm so proud of you, Chris Paul. In the biggest game of your career, the career definer of this could be your last, you're on the best team in basketball record-wise, and you have a good shot at winning the NBA Finals. A lot of people picked you, including myself, and you put out that performance. Listen to the stats. I mean, I read the stat. I was like, holy crap. Luka Doncic. Look, first of all, I'll say it right now. I'm going to Game 4 next week because I'm in Dallas, and I will have a Luka jersey on. Don't say I'm a bandwagon because suck me off because I love watching good basketball. Luka is one of my favorite players to watch. So I will be in Dallas for Game 4 against Golden State, and I will be rooting on Dallas, so suck me. Either way, Luka Doncic, he not only outscored Devin Booker, who was 4th in MVP voting this series, he out-rebounded DeAndre Ayton, who is supposedly a top 5 center in basketball. And then he out-assisted the point god, as you are calling him, Chris Paul this series. Oh, and then your defensive player of the year candidate that you thought should have won, he had more steals than Mikal Bridges in that series. It was a complete masterclass of what Luka did. It was what we call an outer worlds experience. I could have taken shrooms and not experienced that much high of seeing them run them so bad out the gym. That was the most embarrassing probably game and a game in NBA playoffs. I'll even say Game 7 history. Not once has a team on home ice, court, field, whatever, baseball, football, or not baseball, basketball, or hockey, that a team has gotten that badly blown out and at home when you are the far and away favorite team to win the NBA championship. It was just crazy. Just crazy what Luka did to these fools. And it all started with the Luka special. Booker thought it'd be cute to mock him after winning Game 5 and doing the sleeping thing on the floor and then pushing him around. Luka said it best. Y'all were talking real good when y'all up. Now what happened? Y'all, there's a mouse. DeAndre Ayton's going to be gone. Chris Paul, they're looking to trade his ass. Mikal Bridges has an expiring contract. We were seeing the Suns' window may have opened and closed in the same amount of time Jamal Murray has been out of the league, not playing basketball. just think about that. Jamal Murray's been injured for 1.5 seasons, and the Suns. And look, I have nothing but love for Suns fans, most of them, and nothing but love for that city because I lived there for 3 years, and I've been to so many Suns games. But man, to see Chris Paul fall like that, just felt so good, Jimmy. Chris Paul
Yeah.
that little twat for years. And people saying, well, why the hell do you hate Chris Paul? All I'll say is that I have a friend who played on his team back when his life was not at his best in New Orleans. And let's just say Chris Paul and that team did not back him up. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, our friends in Phoenix, our friends in Arizona are going to be in a rough place for the next few months because
Diamondbacks suck. Like they don't have anything to look forward to.
Your Diamondbacks suck. The Cardinals are going to blow it by the time the season hits November in the NFL.
Coyotes are playing at ASU.
They're playing ASU, yeah.
And they don't even get their own logo on the ice. By the way, it's going to be.
They're going to have to change the library before the game. So it's all bad for Arizona right now. This was your one shining moment, and
it's a very good sports town. I will say that they love their teams over there. But man, watching Chris Paul, like I said, this is nothing personal against our Phoenix Suns friends. Don't take this personal. This is all against my hatred for Chris Paul and what the Suns and 4 guy did to me last year. Okay, there's nothing against you.
All right. Before we talk about the conference finals matchups and the game that already took place, I do want to address this Patrick Beverley because we had JJ Redick making headlines in the NBA media last week, and now Pat Beverley. Basically, like everybody has similar feelings towards Chris Paul unless you're LeBron James. And everybody knows that Chris Paul does what he does. And Pat Beverley was very open and honest about his feelings about him. Did he take it a little bit too far? In my opinion, yeah. It was way over the line, not professional. But this is what Patrick Beverley was brought in to ESPN. Whenever he's on an ESPN program, that's what Patrick Beverley is there to do. So I don't put the fault on him in the fact that he was put in that situation. I put the fault on him that he took it way too far and did it in a way that was not classy and unprofessional. However, he's not as good as Chris Paul is.
He's not even in the same stratosphere.
It's
like let me put this in a football term. It's
Tony Romo talking shit about Tom Brady.
Not that high. I would say it's like the likes of Drew Brees getting shit on by Derek Carr. That's the best way to put it. Drew Brees, who was a consistent quarterback, not one of the greatest of all time, but a consistent guy throughout his whole career that a lot of people had mixed feelings about, against a guy who has never won anything, who's just been a role player on on good teams. That's the best way to put it. And look, Pat Bev, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but there's some lines you don't cross, especially when you're a current player. Mm-hmm. People forget Chris Paul was at one point the head of the president of the Players Association. That shit doesn't fly. People look, Chris Paul. There's people that don't like Chris Paul across the league. There's no doubt about that. But there's a respect level of going on national television and saying the things he said. There's a respect level between players to a point of where this stays in locker rooms. This stays between text messages. This does not go to the media because we may have the same feelings about one another, but we're talking about a Hall of Fame guy, which he is a Hall of Famer, but we're talking about a Hall of Fame player this way on national television. And I agree that teams target his ass because he's that bad defensively. And I can say this shit because I don't play in the league and I'm a media personnel, technically. So I can say this all I want. But as a player that will see him and that people have friends across the league, you don't do that. And there's a reason why I love what JJ Redick has done on ESPN for I don't know how long he's been there now, but he's so methodical about the game, about how players are acting, what it takes to win so many games. And then you have Patrick Beverley coming in and being like, he's what? He's washed. He's He's not good. Chris Paul. Same Chris Paul. Like it's not. Like, look, people give Chuck and Kenny so much shit for being just dum-dums because they just do stupid shit and it's
That's
hilarious.
what the TNT broadcasts are for in hockey and basketball.
That's what it's for. But when they come down to analyzing the game, there's very few that do it like that. Draymond, as much as I hate his ass, is the exact same way. There is a far difference between Draymond and his methodical reasoning behind the way he talks about players, the way he talks about the game, and then Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
And I am not okay. Look, people forget. Well, Lakers. He was like, well, all of this Lakers fraud championship. Well, your ass lost in the bubble 3-1. Let's not forget that. Okay, you were waving goodbye to our team in Game 5, so you have nowhere to talk. Nowhere to talk.
Yeah, and you got a guy like Matt Barnes, who's another basketball player who's gotten into media. And I don't think that he's not buddies with Chris Paul. He wasn't standing up for Chris Paul out of a he might have a little bit of a friendship.
He did play with him, but it's still.
It was more along the lines of like what we were saying. As professional athletes, there's certain lines you do and do not cross, and there's certain lines
like it's called locker room talk for a reason. Mm-hmm. What I say to someone in the locker room does not about a different team. It's like saying a game plan almost. Yeah. Like if I'm talking about a play breakdown about an opposing player being like, this guy uses his left, is not good with his left hand, let's force him left, or this guy puts too much weight on his hand when it's a run play. That's things you don't tell the media because of either player code or it's mind games that go against you. Like it's just looking bad upon you. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and I mean it goes back to this philosophy that was used in WWE. You don't want to bury your opponent too much because if that opponent does happen to get over on you, then you look twice as bad. So now next season when Chris Paul does lock down Pat Beverley, which it might happen once or twice, that's all that's going to be talked about. And Pat Bev has nobody to blame it on but himself because he went out there, he did what he did. And I haven't seen if he's put out a response from all the backlash that he's got. I'm sure he's not going to because he probably
was on 0 dark 30. He has not looked at this. That Suns team has not looked at their phone. So
not even Chris. I wonder if Pat Bev is going to maybe walk back some of what he said after everything that's been said about him in the media.
Way he is, no. The way he is, no. Absolutely
NBA
not.
players have too big of egos to walk back anything, so it's dumb of me to even suggest. But let's move on to the actual games on the court. Western Conference Final, 3 seed Golden State Warriors after beating Memphis last round, taking on the Dallas Mavericks, coming off the upset of the number 1 overall seed, number 4. They were seeded 4th initially in the playoff bracket. Luka versus Steph.
They were 5th, by the way, I think.
No,
Utah was 5th. I forgot.
Yeah. So with this matchup, what are you seeing? What do you like for Dallas in this matchup? And are they going to be able to combat the pick and roll offense that we're going to see from Golden State?
If there was one team that matched up like body-wise, I'm not saying ability-wise, but body-wise with Golden State would be these guys. Dallas plays a near exact way as Golden State. They have your shooters in Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Luka, obviously. Then you have the likes of Bertans and Dwight Powell, who are undersized big men that just go out there and play bully ball down low. You're not throwing Boban out there unless it's scrub minutes. Like this is going to be a very small ball game where it's going to be a bunch of jackrabbits jumping around the court, picking off one another for 48 minutes. That's how it's going to be. And look, I gave my prediction before game one. I said I picked Miami in 7, and I'm sticking with Dallas and 6 because first of all, I do not want Golden State for Boston. Please kill me now. If that's the final. That's all I'm gonna say. 2 fan bases that I just cannot stand. But I would love to see Dallas versus Miami because I have so many memories between the D Wade versus Dirk, and then Dirk versus LeBron. Like you could go on and on with those series, and Luka, in my opinion, like I said last series, I think Luka will win you a couple games. Did I think he beat the best team in the league? No, I did not. But I was underestimating this Slovenian god. That's all I'll call him right now. Right now, the best player in basketball left in playoffs is Luka Doncic. Second best is Jason Tatum. Third best is between Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, and that's how you go from there. And because Luka right now is out of this world. Like the stat I was saying when we talked about the Sun series, him out-rebounding their best big man, outscoring their best quote-unquote player, out-assisting their leader and point guard, out-stealing their best defender. It was like Luka full-on takeover. There is a reason why there's such a buzz in Dallas right now. And it's going to take a lot. One team that can match up defensively with these guys, it may be Dallas. Because look, you're going to have the likes of Clay or Wiggins on Luka. And Luka's going to have to probably throw on him or Wiggins. Brunson is a halfway decent defender. You can just have him follow Steph Curry around for 40 minutes and just deal with that. And then you look at the likes of Spencer Dinwiddie is going to have to play big minutes. Dinwiddie, Dwight Powell, and Dallas Bertans and the likes of Dorian Finney-Smith are going to be the X factors because when you get to that second unit of Golden State does something very similar to what the Heat do and he have done for so many years by the makes yourself successful. You trust 8, you play 7, and you go from 6. That's how it goes. And with this Golden State team, I think they'll win. I think they do, but I want Dallas to win, obviously, because I'm going to Game 4. But I would love Dallas to win. So, but I can't put it past Golden State because of how good Steph Curry and the likes of Jordan Poole was non-existent in that second series. He was like God in the first against us, but he was non-existent in that second series. I would expect Jordan Poole to have another great series this one because there isn't very many second group guys that can match up with him defensively.
Yeah, and I think that Golden State has the possibility of maybe overlooking the fact that they're playing Dallas instead of Phoenix. I think they all assumed they were going to be playing the Suns. But I don't think that Steve Kerr, Steph, Clay, those guys that have been there, they're not going to let that affect them for 4 games that Dallas is going to be able to steal. Dallas is going to have to play and match them in order to win this series, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that consistently. I hope they get a win when you're out there in Dallas, and I'd like to see them beat Golden State because I don't necessarily want to see the Warriors in the finals again. But it is very difficult for me to sit here and say Golden State isn't going to be able to get past Dallas and go back to the finals. So I'm picking Golden State as well. I think that one might go 7. I think Dallas is hot. I think Luka is hot right now, and he wants to push this thing as far as he can.
Look, I love Luka, but he's not going to be able to do what he did in Game 7 against Phoenix, against Golden State. That's all I'm at. If it goes 7, Golden State will win. If it goes shorter than that, Dallas has a chance. That means taking 1 or 2 at Golden State. So that's going to be the tough one here if you're Dallas. So and look, Dallas was road warriors. They played really well on the road against Phoenix, like obviously Game 7, but they were road warriors for a reason. So I'm not doubting them because I doubted Luka before, but I'm not doubting this team because look, Luka is just out of the stratosphere. That's the best way I'll put it.
Yeah, and then talk about the Eastern Conference matchup and what happened in Game 1. Miami goes up 1-0 over Boston, but Boston is far from out of this thing. But what did Miami do well in Game 1?
Miami came in, and Boston had that lead for most of the game. That third quarter, when they went on a 22-2 run, 22-2 run. They came in and just pumped their ass right off the bat, and it was great basketball. You had the likes of Max Strus, Jimmy Buckets. One of the look, I'll even say it out to get into you, buddy. That knows, nobody knows. You dropping the mitts over there? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm fighting myself.
For those not watching, Jimmy just plugged his nose with the tissue. But
I'm fighting through it for you guys.
Yeah, but look, Jimmy Butler may be one of the most underrated stars in the league. 40 points. He has 5 40-point games in his career for the Miami Heat. Guess where they all came from? The postseason. Jimmy, big-time player buckets for a reason. And look, I hated on the Heat back, was it November or whenever it was, because that was against my team. But now I'm back on I love the Heat. Yes, I'm a fair weather fan. Call me that. I don't care. Rip me apart in the comments below. Comment below, whatever. But what this Heat team does, they suffocate you on defensively. Jimmy Butler, Gabe Vincent. They didn't even have Lowry tonight. And then you go on a 22-2 run to start that third quarter. They know what it takes. There is no better coach at halftime adjustments that left in the playoffs. I will say, Popovich is a part of this conversation. No better than Spo. Spo knows what needs to be fixed and makes the tough decisions of not throwing Duncan Robinson out there after he had a great first game in that first series in the playoffs, has not touched the court since, is riding with Strus and Vincent and the likes of those dogs and seeing what he's got from his guys because he trusts who he trusts. And you know what Jimmy's going to get you. You know what Tyler Hero's going to get you. And you know what Bam's going to get you. Lowry is just an icing on the cake. This team needs Lowry, though, to win the series. I will say that. I think Boston can steal game 2. But they need Lowry if they're going to have a chance to go back to the NBA Finals, which I don't doubt that they will.
I had it on in my head. I think that Boston was on the right track. They got hot at the right time. I did not expect them to lose game 1 of the series against Miami. I am not going to pick Boston to get past the Heat. I think that Miami, just because it's Boston and I have a bias against that whole region and everything, I don't necessarily have a true reason behind it, but I do think we're going to see Miami and Golden State, and it should be a watched, going back to those classics. Obviously, LeBron's not going to be involved, but he will be involved. He's going to be tweeting from his couch, and we'll.
I would much rather Dallas versus Miami because I don't want us to Golden State there again, and I like different. I like differences. I like having 2 teams. Boston has fucking 20-some championships. They don't need another one, okay? They can live without another one. Just that's look. The Heat have won a lot. Give Dallas a chance, all right? But like Dallas, like I said, there's a reason why I'm riding the coattails of Dallas because I like a different story. Because Dallas, in my opinion, are built similar to how the Nuggets were. They're built, not bought, and I love that. Look at the rest of the teams. Boston is built, not bought. Don't get me wrong. Miami is bought. Golden State is halfway built, halfway bought. But I just would rather Dallas win. I just win. I wouldn't mind Miami winning. Just don't let Boston or Golden State win, please. I'm begging you.
Well, it's been a late night, so I think we can wrap up episode 87 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. We'll have another episode coming at you guys Friday. We'll be recording that one right after Thursday. Hopefully my nose will corroborate the entire time, but it was a great episode so far. We talked a lot of playoff sports and everything going on the hardwood. Like we mentioned, Wednesdays, Fridays, new episodes coming out every single week. Be sure to follow, rate, review, leave a 5-star review and a rating. We'll read that on the podcast. Follow at FEOTB Pod, all social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll be coming at you with more content. We have a good friend that's actually touching down in the Denver area, so we're going to be trying to get something done with the Tell It As It Is guys, Christian and Griffin over there. But
yeah, absolutely looking forward to that. Before we go, I want to say 2 other things on 2 different sports real quickly. The Rockies are dead, and Lionel Messi is playing in the United States soccer, the MLS in 2 years. Soccer is back, baby. The cup is coming home this summer. World Cup is coming home.
There you go. With those hot takes, this has been episode 87 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host Nico Bryant. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.